Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
With all the sports we have, every time of the year is the best time of the year.
And the crowd just buzzing with excitement.
On 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Thursday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. First round of the Masters. Phillies news the day before opening day. Sixers back in action in Toronto tonight here on 97.3 ESPN FM. We got a lot to get to this hour, and you can join the conversation as always. Text board is there at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We will dig deeper into the first round of the Masters. Tiger Woods is -1, just a few shots back of the lead. Reid Fowler from DraftKings. This dude loves golf. This dude is obsessed with golf, and I'm glad we can get him on today because this is going to be an interesting weekend for sure, because the Masters have a chance to be the king of the roost this weekend in a sports world where baseball opening weekend for the 2022 season is here. You have the final weekend of the NBA regular season with playoff seeding still up for grabs. UFC 273 Saturday night, but Tiger Woods and the Masters could steal all the attention. Let's get to the Sixers first, because some news items we have to hit on. It just came out a few minutes ago. Fred VanVleet and OG Ognovi will not play tonight. They're both out. So this is interesting because the Sixers, as you know, do not have Matisse Thybulle. Well, Matisse Thybulle not being available is a little less impactful now that there's no VanVleet and there's no Anunoby. But the bigger deal is the fact that this helps the Sixers potentially win the game tonight, because VanVleet is one of the two best offensive players for the Raptors. It's him and Siakam, and it's a bunch of supporting cast guys. Here's the deal. If the Sixers win tonight, they could potentially move out of the 4 spot. Here's why. For those who didn't hear earlier today, Boston is sitting their main guys. They're not playing them. Now, specifically why is up for interpretation, obviously. Some people believe it's they're trying to get out of that higher seed to avoid the Nets. Some people believe it's just regular, rest. Whatever your reasoning is, the reality is that they're playing the Bucks. The Bucks have a chance to beat them, move up in the standings. Well, if the Bucks take that spot away from the Celtics, and then the Sixers win tonight, the Sixers would have a half-game lead on Boston. Boston has less games to finish the year right now than the Sixers and the Bucks. So Boston could be relegated to the 4th seed, and then Boston deals with Toronto, and the Sixers, depending on if they get 3 or 2, they will deal with either potentially Chicago or whoever the 7th seed is at the play-in tournament, which the majority of people believe it's going to be the Nets, but that's no guarantee with that either, considering this is the Nets team that, frankly, is inconsistent. As I told you guys yesterday here on 97.3 ESPN, if you're asking me who the favorite in the East is, I don't know if the Nets are 1 and 2, honestly, because I think that when push comes to shove, I believe in other teams, coaches, and players more than I do the Nets. The Nets got to prove me wrong before I'm willing to invest a ton in them. Doesn't mean they can't get to the conference finals, though, and rip and roar through the postseason. I just don't know if they get to the NBA finals. So again, Boston is going to probably lose tonight to the Bucks. Bucks are going to move up to 2. If the Sixers win tonight, they move up to 3. Boston moves down to 4. Huge implications tonight in the NBA. Now, on the flip side of all this, as we talked about yesterday and today, Matisse Thybulle does not meet the Canadian standards of vaccination. He can't play in Toronto. So for the Sixers, avoiding this is the key. If the Sixers have to play Toronto, they are at full power. They don't have to deal with this with any other city but Toronto. Toronto is the only Canadian market in the NBA. So for a team like the Sixers, who has a important player, and I understand a lot of you out there are shaking your fists at the radio or listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, shaking your head, and you're saying, Thybulle stinks. He can't shoot. He's got no offense. Yeah, but he's the only guy who can play legitimate defense. In the postseason, defense is important. It matters. The reality is that you cannot name a team that won an NBA title who was a lousy defensive team. You just can't do it. You know why? Because it doesn't exist. Every team that's won a title has had some high caliber defensive players. It's just how it works. In the postseason, defense matters. In the regular season, offense matters. In the postseason, the game slows down. In the postseason, you got a 7-game series and you're making adjustments from night in, night out. The smallest details matter in the postseason. And Thybulle can be one of those minute, small details. So if you can avoid Toronto in the postseason, if you're the Sixers, you're all for it. And you know what? If Boston wants to help you along the way, thank you, Boston. We'll take that right for the taking right there. You listen, if Boston wants to avoid the Nets or whatever their reasoning is, go ahead. I think the Milwaukee team is actually better this year potentially than they were last year. And remember, they basically beat the Nets because Harden and Kyrie were injured. Ultimately, this is a better Nets team than it was last year. I mean, this is a better Bucks team than it was last year. And the Nets roster, I don't know if the Nets are better than last year. I think they're different because no Joe Harris this year. You had him last year, but you have Seth Curry now. You didn't have a legitimate post presence like Drummond last year, but certain teams don't have real big men in the league. Like you saw Nick Claxton play a ton of minutes for the Nets last night because Drummond was just outsized, outmatched. It just wasn't a good matchup for him. So I don't know if the Nets are better than they were last year. I still contend that if you're the Eastern Conference teams, the hierarchy is Milwaukee, Miami, Philadelphia, and then depending on who you like better, Boston or the Nets. I think I would probably take the Nets star players, but I would take Boston's coaching staff. So it depends on what you think is more important. As I just saw Dustin Johnson make a horrible putt. Listen, I'm no expert golfer, okay? But I feel like if you are one of the best golfers on planet Earth, it should have made a better putt than that. And that's 2 straight guys who have just missed left on a putt. I mean, you guys, all these guys do is play golf, and they can't even make the putt. It makes me not feel so bad about myself. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Matt Black Kia studios on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Again, Sixers play tonight versus the Raptors. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Tom McGinnis on the call right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. When we find out who the Sixers starting lineup is, I'll let you know. But I am going to go with the working assumption that Danny Green starts in place of Thybulle tonight because he'll get his little ring tonight, his championship ring. That's my working assumption. I haven't actually seen the lineups yet for tonight, but that's going to be my working assumption. And really quick, one more thing on Thybulle, because I'm not trying to get into a socio-political debate, but people are saying stuff online like, Matisse Thybulle is unvaccinated, or, he should have been vaccinated, or should have just gotten the shot and all this stuff. Thybulle played in Toronto earlier this year. People are acting like Thybulle is not tried to follow the parameters put in place. And that's completely not true. If he was able to play there earlier this year, he played in New York earlier this year. He has been able to play. So what changed between then and now? And I think that's where I think a lot of this has become complete malarkey. At some point, we're arguing over things that don't really matter in the long run. You really think that Maxey not being current on his vaccination status according to Canada's standards really matters in the grand scheme of things? Doubt it. All right, got that off my chest. The Phillies news that happened today is just as interesting. Mike Gill was first to report, and then we had 100 other people confirm it a little bit later. And that is Mickey Moniak has what we understand is a hairline fracture in his wrist. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. The reason why this is a big deal is because when Odubel Herrera went down, Moniak made an amazing case to be part of the opening day roster, and he was expected to platoon with Matt Vierling. Now he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, which is a similar timetable for when they expect Odubel Herrera to be back from his oblique injury. And the Phillies have two major problems here. Number one, this makes the Adam Hazley trade recently look horrible because now you're down to Simone Musial. I am going to mess up this guy's name 100 million times. I mean, how I'm going to get this guy's name right. Just give me a minute to pull it up. But the point is that they're leaning on a guy who is a double-A guy when they could have had Hazley. Now, who knows? Maybe this guy is better than we all expected, and it's going to be all right. But the Phillies already going into this season with questions about their defense, with some serious turnover on the roster in terms of aspects of the bullpen and the pitching staff. There it is, Simone Musial. So now you're asking a guy from Double-A to fill the void of two players who were expected to be on your starting roster. Listen, it's not going to keep the Phillies in the postseason, but it's going to create a whole new set of questions for the everyday starting lineup. And then when Moniak and Herrera come back, I asked Mike Gill this earlier today, and he told me, it's a great question. So I'll give it to you guys as well. If Herrera and Moniak are coming back at the same time, do you bring them both back? Do you bring one of them back? Something to think about. Let's squeeze in a couple texts before we hit the break at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Let me see here. Texter says, when I went to the Sixers game this year, the Celtics beat us by 50. I hope we don't play them in the playoffs. I'm not going to hold one game against the Sixers in the Celtics situation. Listen, the Celtics, I think, are a flawed team. I think that outside of Tatum and Brown, who do they really have offensively? If you're a team that goes in there defensively and just doesn't let Tatum do any scoring, and you ask the rest of the team to beat you, can the rest of the Celtics beat you? And I think their defense is flawed because with Williams coming off of that injury, and who knows exactly when he'll return, how healthy he'll be when he does return. I think it really hurts their post defense because Horford's getting too old. Williams is a smaller big man anyway, so who's stopping Embiid in that situation? I'm not too worried about the Celtics in the playoffs, honestly. Reggie in Seattle says, Thibault can't defend Tatum, Durant, Middleton, Siakam, or Jimmy Buckets. Well, here's the thing, Reggie in Seattle. I don't need him to shut down any of those guys. The fact of the matter is nobody can shut down those guys. I need somebody to slow him down. I'm not asking, no one's stopping Durant. And most of this season, nobody's been able to stop Tatum. Middleton can be slowed down. I don't think Middleton's a unstoppable force of nature. I think Devin Booker's a better, more worryable guy than that. Siakam, Thibault wouldn't guard him anyway. Siakam's a power forward. And Jimmy Buckets, he's had some serious shooting struggles this year. So I think Jimmy could be flustered. But listen, I'm not saying Thibault's going to stop those guys. I'm just saying that Thibault is a guy who is arguably your best perimeter defender. And you need him to guard somebody. And I don't want Harden and Maxey wasting all their energy on defense. I need them offensively going out there and getting their buckets. All right, we got a packed leaderboard right now. We got another ball got struck into the trees. We'll ask Reid Fowler from DraftKings about the Masters coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio. It's opening weekend, and two of baseball's biggest rivals go head-to-head in the Bronx when Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees face J.D. Martinez and the Boston Red Sox.
Another great play from Aaron Judge.
3-run homer for J.D. Martinez. The Yankees and Red Sox. Listen to Major League Baseball this Saturday on 97.3 ESPN.
South Jersey Advanced Health Solutions, South Jersey's premier clinic for allergy elimination and Lyme disease, effective treatment of chronic mold and all food and environmental allergies, and the only clinic in New Jersey to fully treat the red meat allergy known as alpha-gal, specializing in allergy elimination, Lyme disease, fertility, autoimmune disorders, adult and childhood ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, insomnia, headaches, and all types of pain. Contact them today, 856-285-4788 to start feeling better, or visit them online at sjadvancedhealth.com.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Mako and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, just say,
better get Mako.
And go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
Get Macy's lowest prices of the season on must-haves to make spring your season. Like twirl-worthy dresses for $79.99 and under. 50 to 65% off effortlessly cool suits from Tommy Hilfiger and more. And 65% off Charter Club damask sheets and bedding. And get contact-free curbside pickup or pickup in store today. Details at Macys.com/pickup. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
You know your closet well, but what does it sound like? Yes, your closet. Does it whisper your taste? Does it scream your taste? Stitch Fix gets to know your unique style and fit. Its selection transforms to show you only the looks and trends you'll love. With a shopping experience that evolves alongside your taste, your closet will scream so you without actually screaming. Stitch Fix for women and men. We're so you.
If you have a small business, let Staples be your shipping partner.
I'm generating orders 24/7. I don't have time to ship them too.
Staples has it covered.
A one-stop shipping solution for a business that works nonstop.
Padded mailers in every size and color?
Staples has your shipping covered with packing and shipping supplies and services. Now get 15% off UPS Ground and 20% off UPS Express shipping services. If you need to ship, ship at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 4/30. Visit staplesconnect.com/services/shipping for details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light. and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Pro, Progressive Fence and Rail. Fencing, railing, shower enclosures for home builders and homeowners. Customized just for you. Awnings and decks, yeah, we do those too. Yeah. We get it done right. We get it done fast. With quality products built to last. If you need help around the outside of your home, the only name you need to know is ProgressiveFenceandRail.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig getting with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. We'll get back to the Sixers talk a little bit later in the hour. Keep text coming at 609-403-0973 is the text for those could DM the show through 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. But you know what the power of Tiger Woods is? The power of Tiger Woods is that this is now the second golf person we've had on this week. We had Bob Herrig on Tuesday talking about Tiger and the Masters. And now we have Reid Fowler from DraftKings joining us. And Reid, I told everyone before you came on that you don't like golf. You love golf. So I think it's fair to say that you are easily the most qualified person to talk about the Masters at this point in time. How you doing, my friend?
Good, Josh. No, I appreciate that moniker. I will gladly take it as yes. I have multiple screens up currently. Each screen has a 4-box, which I know is a little repetitive, but I guess that's overkill. But I love it. So yeah, you're right. Absolutely, appreciate it.
So first of all, let's start with Tiger. Get the Tiger stuff out of the way. He's obviously only a few shots behind right now. We got only one TV, one stream on here in the studio. So when you think about what you saw from Tiger today, aside from the fact that he's literally within, the shot of the lead here, what did you think of him round one?
Yeah, I thought it was vintage Tiger when everyone thinks that he can't do it, including myself, where I said, the positive EV bet is to, if you wanted to, well, first I prefaced it by saying just stay away. But if you wanted to put money on it, I'd probably go towards the miss the cut as a positive EV bet. But now look what he's doing, right? He's 1 under par. He's 4 off the lead right now to Sungjae M, who just got to 5 under par. That might come back it might come back to 4. But even then, right, Tiger within 4 shots, 3 shots of the lead is fantastic. Granted, by what happened just a year and a half, less than a year and a half, or maybe just about a year and a half ago, where we thought if he was just able to be with his family and Charlie and just be able to do those things, be a father, that would be a win for Tiger. And now look what he's doing, right? This guy he's a machine. He's an absolute machine. He's not from this earth. And it's great to see. I'm just waiting for the crossover with Doctor Strange and enter into the multiverse when Tiger's going to be there, because that's his next thing. He's going to be the next Avenger.
Well, I mean, the tournament right now is on ESPN, and that is to Marvel properties, the Disney properties.
There we go.
So maybe there's a connection there that we don't know about. So
why not, man? And this is where you heard it first, guys. You heard it first. ESPN 97.3 with Josh and Reid. You heard it first here. Tiger is part of the multiverse.
The question is he part of the Illuminati or not? That's the real question.
That's another pod, Josh. That is after hours, baby.
Back to the golf, because I feel like I could go off on a Marvel tangent. We would never get back on track. So with Tiger in the conversation, I think the interesting thing for golf right now, Reid, is that the Masters, they could own the weekend. I mean, baseball opening weekend, NBA final weekend of the season, UFC 273 Saturday night. And it's like all these things going on, but one guy could literally take the needle and just plunge it in the one direction.
Yeah. When everyone says that Tiger is the needle, they're not just referring to golf. I hope they're not, because this guy is, and this is why he's such a unique individual, is not just what he's doing on the sports field, right? Not just what he's doing in golf and physically. in any sport, what he's doing. And some may argue, right? Oh, golf's not that straight. Well, it's not strenuous in the same sense as football, basketball, or even baseball. But I argue you're standing a lot more in baseball than you are in golf, right? Like, it's a play that happens every 2 or 3 seconds and it's over. Golf, you're walking 5 or 6 miles on a flat surface of 18 holes. And again, we're saying walking, right? But you do that for 4 rounds, you essentially walk the marathon. And for someone who almost had his leg amputated, that's amazing. And so when you say that they might own the weekend, Tiger, if he was playing in the PNC when Tiger was playing with Charlie, had owned the weekend. This guy is a sight to behold. And I'm sure you feel the same way. We're so fortunate to see him in his prime when he was in his prime, but to see what he's doing now and to defy every odd, not just from a sports betting standpoint, but from a physical and from a human standpoint. This guy is, and look, a lot of the stuff that he did in his personal life is inexcusable. You can't, that stuff needs to be talked about and considered as much as you want it to be. But from a sports perspective, right, like he's doing something amazing, and you got to relish in the fact that we're all here to see it.
Reid Fowler from DraftKings. He's our PGA and NFL analyst. Joins us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Follow him on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler. Let's get to the rest of the board, because right now it's obviously the first round. Mm-hmm. But is there a guy right now among the top tier of guys on that board? SJM right now is at -5. Smith at -4. Dustin Johnson -4. Willett, the former champ, at -3. Neiman at -3, Scheffler at -3, Zalatoris at -3. There's some interesting names here. Of those guys, though, who's got the staying power?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against Cameron Smith right now, right? I mean, God, the guy has been so amazing. That last time we saw him out, he had 10 birdies on the final round at TPC Sawgrass in that weird 47-round tournament that was the Players' Championship. So it's hard to go against Cameron Smith. I know he's just one off the lead. He should have been at 6 under, but he double bogeyed the last hole, so he's there. I would argue that Scotty Scheffler, Joaquin Neiman, these young guys, like, they don't know anything about trends, right? They could care less about the history. And, like Zalatoris, not Zalatoris, but Scotty Scheffler, he's played here a bunch, a couple of times, right? Joaquin Neiman has played here before. But you talk about some of these younger players where you shouldn't win a course like this, and they're there, right? Like, it's going to be amazing. But I would argue that someone that's right around there, I think Daniel Berger is someone that we have to pay attention to. He double bogeyed the last hole as well. He was at 3 under par, but he was playing solid golf. And he's someone that I feel at 1 under right now is right in the mix. He's someone that I liked pre-tournament. I think he's still there, even though he's 4 off the lead right now. What he did in the back 9 was great. He had 3 birdies in a row, and he was fine until that last hole. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Daniel Berger, because he hasn't started off well at this tournament before, and he's gotten, middling to not so great finishes. But now with a decent start, I think you're going to see him stay kind of where he is right now and maybe get even closer as the week progresses. And come on, Rory McIlroy, wouldn't that be a story? If it's not Tiger, Rory in his 15th Masters finally get the career Grand Slam. He's also at 1 under par. So I think those 2 guys are probably my favorite from a little bit deeper down the board.
What's going to be the impact of the weather here? Because it was raining and that's supposed to get hot this weekend. So I feel like they're going through 3 seasons down there at Augusta.
Yeah. Spieth mentioned before the tournament started on Wednesday that it could be 2 different golf courses. One where it's wet and kind of cold in the morning, and one that's completely hot and windy and blown out on the weekend. So, right, like it's a tale of 2 different golf courses. And if it gets like that, you got to give the leans to the Euros. You got to give the leans to guys like Colin Morikawa, who again isn't necessarily playing that great. He's at 1 over par, so definitely still within it, right? If he finishes at even or even 1 under par, you got to like his chances. Tiger Woods, when this stuff gets a little bit dicey, these players who know how to manage the course and be patient at Augusta National will be the ones that prevail, right? It's a tested methodology here. You stay patient. You don't attack pins unless it's moving day, right? Like a Saturday or today. And even then, you can't attack all these pins. So you look at those guys like Tiger and some of these players, these Euro guys on the weekend that can play in the wind and you're starting to like your lineups or your outright bets a little bit more if you have those guys.
Speaking of the bets, what do you recommend to people who maybe they didn't make a pre-bet? You know what I mean? They're not one of those people who jumped in. Like, for example, I was nuts. Sunday night, I threw a Tiger makes the cut bet at plus 300 down before he ever announced, So, like, not everyone's like us, right? So, maybe someone, they watched it, they heard us talk about on the radio today, and they're like, well, I want to get a little action.
Yeah.
What's a recommendation that you would give them?
Yeah. So, like, if you don't want to worry about the outrights, because that's, even if, after round one, that's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed in life. And especially when you're sports betting, right? Like, and golf, getting into golf with sports betting is fun because the payouts, if you win, are massive, but it's extremely hard because there's so many guys that could do it on any given day in any given tournament. But I would argue that if you wanted to get into it, the top 10, bets are fantastic. So even if you like Tiger, right? If you like Tiger and where he's at right now and you think he's going to keep it up, his top 10, I believe if I'm taking a look at the DK Sportsbook right now, I know he's quite further down the board in terms of an outright market, but at plus 250 to enter the top 10, right? All he has to do is finish in the top 10 and you double your money or a little bit more, right? So that's something that I would try and take a look at. Top 20s are fine. But look, if you want to take the outright, if you want to say, man, Sanjay M is playing really well right now and he's at plus 2,800 to win this golf tournament, right? Like, that's not a bad bet because now right now that he's got a better shot of doing it than he did pre-tournament. Even though his odds pre-tournament were plus 7,000 or whatever they finished up at, and I'm pulling out my hair right now thinking, I looked at that number and said, I want to do it, but I can't, right? Like, that's something that is still a decent bet from an ROI. It's not an ROI, but from a leverage standpoint that, look, he's in the lead right now, right? If he just holds serve, then he's going to win this.
There's also a handful of guys I want to ask you about who are at even right now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're not under par, but they're even. And even right now is still within shot. It's day one. It's not like you're completely out of it here. Listen, I'm not a golf expert, but I feel like when I see Koepka, Garcia, Watson, when I see names like that, Matsuyama at even, I'm sitting there thinking the guys who are ahead of them might be looking over their shoulder a little bit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think Brooks just went 3 straight bogeys. So not great for Brooks. He's at 1 over par. But conversely, Colin Morikawa, who we just talked about, who was 1 over, has now moved back to even par. So you're right. The thing I would look at, though, Josh, when you take a look at these guys at even right now, wherever they finish, hopefully they don't blow up and they don't go 3 over or 4 over the next handful of holes if they're still on the course, is that try and look at the guys who are going out in the morning tomorrow so they don't have to worry about the win in the afternoon. The guys who went out and shot even on easier conditions, right, quote unquote, easier conditions in the morning today, will get the PM tee times, right, because it switches Thursday and Friday, that if you tee off AM on Thursday, you're teeing off PM on Friday, and then vice versa. I would look at those guys who are teeing off in the morning tomorrow. So let's say Brooks Koepka ends at 1 under or even par. He's going out first or one. I think he was last today. So he's going out first tomorrow, right? That's first tee time. That's, their metal spikes haven't been on the greens. It's softer conditions. It's not going to be as windy. Like, those are the guys that you probably want to take a look at.
I want to ask you a kind of a big picture question here.
Yep.
Because you covered the PGA. You also covered the NFL. Which do you enjoy playing more?
Like as a sport or like
no, as a bettor?
As a bettor. It's different. Like, I think golf is, I was going to say as a sport, definitely golf, because football, that was way back when, Josh. You go back to my high school days, and I was running the West Coast offense back in Hawaii. But it's golf for me. The reason why is I and this might be a fallacy, right? Is I feel like I have a better edge because I play golf a lot more. I've coached it before, so I feel like I have that edge. But then I also, on the quantitative side, I'm doing a lot of the research to say this, that, and the other. Now, look, I can come in with my theory and say this is what I think is going to happen, and something completely different happens. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of sport, where you can also think, well, this can never happen, but I have to sprinkle a little bit, something on it, and then it happens. But I would argue that for me, over the season especially, golf is the one that I feel like I'd like to play more. I would argue, though, in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the NFL season, that's the best because the lines aren't mature. The books don't really know. The teams aren't really set yet, right? They're still trying to figure themselves out. And so the numbers aren't as mature as they are and tight as they are towards the end of the season. Same with golf, too. You talk about the beginning of the season or even the fall swing, right? Look, where all the key names aren't there. You get some of these guys that if you've been doing it like myself every single day, you know who they are. There's an edge that you can have during fall golf, especially because football is back on. So there's pros and cons for both, but I would argue football better in the beginning. Totality, I like golf a lot more.
He's Reid Fowler from DraftKings. Give a follow on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler. Covers the PGA and the NFL for DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. He joined us right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. The Masters round 1 is today. It's going to be a busy weekend. I know Reid will be all over, so follow him on Twitter. Keep up with everything. Reid, appreciate you jumping on today. Enjoy the golf, and hopefully some of your bets pay out.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll get back to your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side. Text board is open at 609-403-0973, or you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Of course, we will be running Masters updates throughout the day, every day, all weekend long. So when you're listening to 97.3 ESPN FM and you're not near the television, you're not near, a device to keep up with, you're not an establishment yet that has the golf on TV, we got you Masters updates every hour here on 97.3 ESPN FM today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. So one of the many reasons to keep it tuned. Don't change that dial, as they would say back in the day. This is 97.3 ESPN FM, your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, NCAA tournament, Masters updates, Super Bowl 56, the NBA playoffs, and more. 97.3 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Three-point shot by Kyrie, bottom, it's good. He knocks it out, and the Sixers have taken the lead.
The Sixers are in Toronto to face the Raptors. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
When it comes to our customers, convenience matters. That's why we offer top-rated digital banking services with just that in mind. From online account opening to contactless payment options to mobile check deposit right from your phone.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
We all reach tipping points in life. The weight of a low-paying job, unpaid bills, a new family. You can't keep going. That's where My Computer Career can help. In just months, not years, they can help you start a new life as an IT pro, even with no prior experience. Impossible? You learn online from home, and My Computer Career offers lifetime career services to help you find jobs with companies begging for IT pros. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? Keep your engine at its best with clean oil from Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic. Got an older vehicle? Use Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The gifts are all yours at JCPenney's Happy Birthday Sale. Celebrate with 30% off select Levi's for the fam. Plus, save up to 50% during our biggest home sale of the season. Oh, and this Saturday only, the first 120 customers in-store get a coupon for $10 off a $10 purchase. Shopping is back. JCPenney. Levi's offer ends 4/17. Additional offers and coupons do not apply. Home offer ends 4/9. Coupon giveaway in-store only. Exclusions apply. Valid 4/9. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
In business, you need connections. Now you can connect with unprecedented access to the nation's largest delivery network. Introducing USPS Connect. You want reach? We go there. You want easy? We make returns simple. You want fast? We deliver same day. Move your business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSConnect.com. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day expected with entry close to final destination.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Don't you just love the smell of old books? Shh,
this is a library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction.
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
With basketball season in full swing and UFC every weekend, it's time for you to experience sports betting done right at the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Bally's Atlantic City Casino and Resort. Get in on all the games you love at the FanDuel Sportsbook located right off the Atlantic City Boardwalk. The retail sportsbook features 5 betting windows, a large video wall, 20 self-service betting kiosks, and much more. Get your game face on and score big when you bet with FanDuel Sportsbook only at Bally's Atlantic City Casino and Resort. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Don't forget, coming up in about 12 minutes from now will be your final chance today on the radio to be a qualifier for the Pick Your Trip contest. Pick Your Trip is back, and the Eagles Draft Party will be live this year at Slack Tie Brewing Company on Route 83, just north of Cape May Courthouse. Thanks to Phillies Sports Trips and Ernest & Sons Old Fashioned Butcher Shop and Brigantine, the Sports Bash and Mike Gill will be giving one lucky listener an opportunity to win a trip for 2 to a 2022 Eagles road game of their choice with airfare, hotel stay, pregame tailgate party, and 2 tickets all included. All you got to do is listen to Sports Bash all day and Game Night with Josh Hennig. And at 55 after each hour, when you hear the sounder, it'll be your chance to call 609-573-3776 for your chance to pick your trip. Yeah, it's coming up about 12 minutes from now. Back to the text board, 609-403-0973. Is the text board, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show if you're listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Talk about the Phillies a little bit earlier in the show. Texter says, what about Vierling? Is he hurt too? Vierling is not hurt. And I'm going to assume that moving forward, that Vierling is just going to be your starting center fielder, and that Simone Mazziotti will be like the fill-in guy at this point. Because remember, the original plan was that, Vierling and Herrera were going to platoon, then Herrera got injured, and Moniak had this monster spring training, and then it was like, all right, well, maybe Moniak can be the platoon until Herrera comes back, and then Moniak gets injured, and now everyone's like, all right, what do we do here? Again, they should never have traded Adam Hazley. It just is coming back to bite them. I never am a fan of dealing from a position of surplus in spring training. If you do it during the regular season, I get it. But spring training, it's just, why? I'm sure they have a wonderful explanation about, analytics and numbers, and they could give me a PowerPoint presentation for why they traded Adam Hazley. I don't care what the reasoning is. It's looking bad now. But yeah, Vierling's probably going to be your starting center fielder for the Phillies till further notice. We got Tom and Margate chiming in. He says, what do you think? The Phillies' chances to make the National League playoffs? Josh, I love baseball and the Phillies, but I'm going to keep the Irish Smithwick and the Scotch whiskey on ice for the bullpen still this year. That's from Tom and Margate. Well, first of all, I don't think you're going to need to keep too much on ice, Tom, unless you really want to have something to drink, because I think the bullpen is going to be way better this year. They blew like 40 saves last year. There's no way they're blowing that many saves again this year. The bullpen's just better. You let Neris walk and you brought in Familia. So you swapped out one guy who's good enough to be your bullpen 7th inning, 8th inning man, but not good enough to be your closer. You brought in Knebel, who is a pretty good pitcher. You brought in Brad Hand, who's a 3-time All-Star. I think the bullpen's going to be better. The hinge point is Sir Anthony Dominguez. If Dominguez can be the guy that he can be this year, he will be the part of the bullpen that will protect them from going downhill like the team did last year. So I think that if the Phillies don't blow 40 games, I think that just process this for a minute. All right. Let me go back to the 2021 Phillies season specifically. All right. Here we go. 2021 Phillies season. Think about what you had in that bullpen, first of all. You didn't have a lot of good pitchers. All right. You brought in Ian Kennedy hoping he was going to save you, and he didn't. So let's think about and process this for a minute. You got a better bullpen this year. You blew 40 saves last year. You only won 82 games. Let's say you only blow half of the games last year. And let's say you only win half of the games that you would have blown. All right. So let's say they win at minimum 10 more games last year. That means they would have won 92 games last year. 10 more games makes that much of a difference. Just think about that for a minute. 10 games. 10. You would have been in the playoffs last year. So I think it's pretty simple to say if the Phillies don't make the playoffs, that's a problem. I think the Phillies are a lock to make the postseason this year. With the combination of a better roster, a better bullpen, and the expansion of the playoff field all complement for the Phillies to make the playoffs. Now, what do they do when they get to the postseason? That's another conversation. I think that when they get to the postseason, it could depend on their starting pitching, because Aaron Nola was Jekyll and Hyde last year. Some games he was great. Some games he was horrible. Some games he was a roller coaster ride. You never knew what you were getting from him from game to game. So to me, if Nola can just be more consistent, I think if Wheeler can have anything close to the Cy Young potential year he had last year, because he should have won the Cy Young, it was Corbin Burns who won the award, because some idiots who are obsessed with analytics gave Burns the award, even though he pitched fewer games and had fewer wins and had fewer almost everything than Zach Wheeler. But fine, we'll give it to that guy because analytics are our gods, apparently, when it comes to watching sports, but whatever. And I think that Ranger Suarez, if he can have a good year, Zach Eflin can stay healthy, and he can have a reliable season. I think those 4 guys can get you there. Kyle Gibson's going to eat your innings. He's going to get the job done for the most part for you. I'm not too worried about him. I'm worried a little about Nola. I want to see what Nola can do this year. I want to see what Ranger Suarez can do for an entire calendar year of a baseball season, not just a chunk here, a chunk there of a season. And I'm curious to find out, how does Zach Wheeler follow up last year's Cy Young contending campaign? But Tom and Margate, I do think the Phillies make the playoffs. I think it's a very safe assumption at this point. Don't forget, Sixers back in action tonight, 7:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Tom McGinnis on the call as they take on Toronto. Remember, Sixers win tonight. Bucks win tonight. Sixers will move into the 3 spot in the Eastern Conference standings. The Bucks are playing the Celtics tonight. The Celtics are sitting 3 of their most important players, arguably, for tonight's game. And so you would expect the Bucks to win tonight. So it's on the Sixers now to get the job done as well. Here's the deal. You have to have a situation where you have to do your job. You got to get your end of the deal done. Make it happen. Sixers cannot lose this game tonight if they want to be taken seriously, especially considering that Toronto is going to be without Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby. So you have the Raptors sitting guys, you have the Celtics sitting guys. The Sixers better win this game tonight. They absolutely have to get it done. They move to the 3 seed, and then Boston has 1 less game than you do down the stretch. So the Sixers could go into their double dip on the weekend with 2 games in hand, and they can pad their lead over the Celtics, hang on to the 3 seed, and potentially play Chicago, which would be probably one of the best matchups for them right now. Probably one of the best case scenarios for them right now would be to play Chicago in the first round. And if you play Chicago in the first round, you leave Toronto for Boston in the first round. You leave the Bucks to take on either the Nets or whoever wins the play-in tournament, which I think the Bucks win. I don't think there's anyone coming out of the play-in 7, 8, 9, 10 range that can beat the Bucks. I think the Bucks are better than they were last year. And I think it'd be a tough task for the Nets to beat them in the first round. I think if you're the Nets, I don't want to say you want the Heat if you're the Brooklyn Nets, but I think the Heat present fewer problems for you. Because the thing with the Heat is they don't have the athletes and the defenders to keep up with you. Kyle Lowry versus Kyrie Irving, we already know who's going to win that matchup. Jimmy Butler versus Kevin Durant, we already know who's going to win that matchup. I think the Nets are the worst possible matchup in the postseason for Miami. And I think Milwaukee is the worst possible matchup in the postseason for the Nets. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, and keep it tuned right here at 97.3 ESPN FM. We will have the Sixers tonight, 7:30 versus the Raptors, all weekend long. Masters updates every hour, as well as we will keep you apprised of the NBA playoffs here on Sports Bash with Mike Gill tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Game night with Josh Hennig tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then Billy Schwein in the locker room at 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, all here on your home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Masters updates, the NBA playoffs, the NCAA tournament, Super Bowl 56, and more. 97.3 ESPN FM. Right now, your chance to qualify for Pick Your Trip. The number is 609-573-3776. You're caller number 7. you will qualify to pick your trip. Pick your trip is courtesy of Philly Sports Trips, 2 Philly Sports road trips with the pros. Plan your trip at phillysportstrips.com. Also brought to you by Ernest & Sons Old Fashioned Butcher Shop in Brigantine. Here's the drill. Caller number 7 at 609-573-3776. You will be a contestant for Pick Your Trip. Eagles Draft Party, the Sports Fashion Mike Gill, Thursday, April 28th, Slack Tie Brewing, Route 83 in Cape May Courthouse. You want to learn more about Slack Tie Brewing, go to 973ESPN.com. Check out my latest article on all the breweries in Cape May County. Call number 7. Good luck. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a good night.
From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. Tiger Woods' friend and fellow Masters champion Freddie Couples said if Tiger can walk the hills at Augusta National for 72 holes, he can contend. He's too good. Well, 18 holes in, Tiger looks like a contender coming back from the horrific car crash last year. Woods putting down a 1 under 71.
To hit the shots in the right spots, I know where to hit it to a lot of these pins, and I'm missing the correct spots and give myself good angles. And I did that all day, and I was able to make a few putts and end up in a red like I am right now. I'm only 3 back, and I know we got a long way to go. This golf course is going to change dramatically. Cooler, drier, windier. You can hear the sub-airs on out there. So this golf course is going to change, and it's going to get a lot more difficult.
Yeah, the storms of earlier this week are history now. Tiger is currently 4 off the lead now, held by Sung J M, who is 5 under par. You're listening to coverage of the 2022 Masters on Westwood One.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In business, you need connections. Now you can connect with unprecedented access to the nation's largest delivery network. Introducing USPS Connect. You want reach? We go there. You want easy? We make returns simple. You want fast? We deliver same day. Move your business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSConnect.com. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day expected with entry close to final destination.
First round up to sunset next hour. Let's check the leaderboard, sponsored by Grainger. Grainger has supplies and solutions for every industry. Visit Grainger.com. Sung J M has sole possession of the lead at 5 under par, but he's got a tough up and down for par coming up at 18. It's a clubhouse, that 4 under 68, 8 birdies on the card, but double bogeys at the first and the last.